What up, everybody? Welcome into the Betting Pros live stream. Hello, as we get into week 14. I am Dan Harris. That's Matt Perrault. I am half asleep right now, getting over my little 11-year-old daughter's sleepover. I now know what the loudest sound in the world is, and it is 8 11-year-old girls doing karaoke at 12:30 in the morning. So we're cool. No big deal. Matt, how was your night? Did you have any 11-year-old sleepovers last night? You're cool.
No, I had a whole mess load of things. So, like, how are you guys with babysitters? Do you guys have a lot of them?
We don't actually. We had babysitters, but then they all went to college, so we don't have many.
Like post-COVID, like we've had the hardest time. So, like, there was a concert we were supposed to go to, my wife and I, that we had planned to go to last night, and the first person that we had booked to watch our daughter flaked. And so we were left kind of scrambling around trying to find someone else to watch our daughter. And so it never actually happened. So we didn't get a chance to go to the concert last night. So I got a chance to watch all the combat sports.
All right.
I watched I don't know how many hours of combat sports last night. And I'm glad that I did because it was absolutely insane. We lost $100 in the tickets for the concert, but it was a profitable night. I hit 2 plus money parlays. So
nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right. So I assume that you're going to give out nonstop winners here on this one, right? You're on a heater?
I mean, I've been really bad in the NFL this year, and I was really good last year, and I finally feel like I've turned the corner on this. So, I mean, we went 13-2. Monday, I went 8-0 on Monday Night Football with the Patriots.
Oh, that was a nice one. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Let's get it out of the way here. You're smart. I'm dumb. You're good looking. I'm not attractive. Whatever the whole Happy Gilmore thing is. Well done to you. I said that I would own it, Matt, that if you got that right, I would fully admit that I was wrong. You have been on it. I have been entirely wrong. Now, yeah, that game was out of Bizarro World. Doesn't matter.
No, it wasn't. I told you how it was going to go. I told you.
Regardless of anything,
the
Matt.
Game went exactly.
3 pass attempts. 3 pass attempts.
It can't be Bizarro World when I told you on Sunday morning how the game was going to go with the weather, and I told you why the Patriots are going to win, and it was the exact reason why the Patriots won.
I'm not making excuses. I'm not at all. I just
calling it Bizarro World is an excuse. That's an excuse.
I told you. No. I didn't mean that. The Patriots were the better team that night. They won the game. I was wrong. You were right. I'm not saying I was wrong because of the wind. I'm just saying it was a game that we've been watching football our entire lives. I can't ever remember seeing a game like that where it was 3 pass attempts from a team. I've just never seen it. It was amazing. It was incredible. So anyway, nobody wants to hear about how amazing you are and how terrible I am. If you do, I will talk about that all day. Matt, I want to start with a game that I heard you mention on the Juice last night. And I actually picked the other side of it, but I have slowly sort of been oh my God, I am on totally against the sharp side of this. And it's the Browns against the Ravens. So on our Betting Pro show, Matt, I said that I kind of had gone back and forth on it. I got the Ravens at the time. It was 2.5, and I said I'm not betting it now because I think it's going to get to 3. I was waiting till it got to 3. It did get to 3, although there are still 2.5s out there, Matt. Like FanDuel, BetMGM, it's 2.5, which surprises me a little bit because everything I have seen and kind of what you have alluded to is that the sharp side of this game has been pushing the Browns, right? All Browns. Is that still holding true here?
Yeah, WinBet 80% of the money is on Cleveland here coming up for today.
What about the number of bets though? Do you know that?
Number of bets are on Baltimore. 62% of the bets or 61.4% of the bets are on Baltimore.
Yeah.
So you have more tickets on Baltimore. You've got 54% of the bets at FanDuel on Baltimore. You've got 57% of the money on Cleveland at Baltimore.
Okay, that's not a crazy one. The other one is big.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's been ping ponging because I bet -3 even money last night. And it's now back down here in Vegas to 2.5. So there's definitely people who think the Ravens are the right side here, but I think there's some recency bias that comes into it because these teams just played 3 weeks ago. And it was a really ugly game. Lamar threw a ton of interceptions, and they think, hey, if Lamar doesn't throw interceptions, they win going away.
They win by 6 points with Lamar Jackson throwing 4 interceptions. But your point, Matt, you made the best point last night. I mean, you could say again, sorry, but this is the third straight week right now where Cleveland has Baltimore on its mind, right? I don't remember seeing this where you have a game against a team, you have a bye,
Yeah,
and then
that's
you
the
play
key.
that team again.
Yeah, that's
Like,
the key. The hook
right,
is the bye. That's the
right.
weird thing. It's
Yes,
we've seen teams play each other 2 times in 3 weeks. It's
sure,
just that one of the teams, the road team gets to go home and sit and
right,
rest while the other team has to keep on playing. And then they got to go on the road to take on Cleveland in some, in Ohio December weather with the better running team. And I know it's tough to
correct.
run. I know it's on paper, the Ravens are a tough team to run, but it's one of my props if you want to get right into it.
Go.
I mean, I have Nick Chubb over 69.5 yards rushing
Yep,
at -115.
yep,
And I think people are going to shy away from this bet because they think the Ravens on paper have the best rushing defense. And they do, but they do give up yardage on the ground. They have been hit the last couple of weeks on the ground by running backs. And I think
yep,
that they're going to give the ball to Nick Chubb a ton because they don't want Baker Mayfield doing what happened 3 weeks ago, where he was dropping back and throwing the ball all over the place. And it didn't look great because they're
that's
like,
true.
their whole game plan was like the same thing my game would have been. The Ravens secondary sucks. It's the worst secondary in the NFL. And they're
Right.
totally banged up. So let's throw the ball all over the place because it's tough to run on the Ravens. And it didn't work. So I think at least initially, I think this bet could cash in the first half because I think initially they're going to run the ball and keep the ball, try to, play ball control and feed Nick Chubb. And if he pops 1 or 2 big runs, we get here to 69.5 at -115. So, under 70, I was like, yes, please. So that's my first prop. Nick Chubb over 69.5 rushing yards at -115 at BetMGM.
Well, again, no matter what I would think of that, I would have to say, Matt, you're a genius because that's where we are right now, where I defer to you in all things, given the Patriots. I don't hate it whatsoever, and I do think you're correct. But my only thought whatsoever on it is that I do wonder what their game plan is going to be in this one for a couple of reasons. Number one, as banged up as the Ravens were, they're now even more banged up, right, in the secondary because of no Marlon Humphrey. So that really hits them. The reason, by the way, one of the reasons why I kind of lean towards the Ravens are getting the 3 is because I said, they're going to really feel the loss of Humphrey going forward for sure. This, though, is a team where, like, if you have to be without like somebody strong in your secondary, this is probably the team to do it because they don't really have that big time wide receiver going, and you've got Baker who looks terrible. But I have heard, like, I follow beat writers with the fantasy stuff, Matt, like especially Saturday night. Like, I follow anybody who covers every football team closely, and the reports on Baker have been like relatively positive right now with how the bye week treated him. Like, he looked much better apparently in practice this week than he has in a long time. So I could see them trying to exploit a little more in the air. But with that said, I don't hate that bet whatsoever. I would definitely go that side with it with the Chubb because it's just, the Ravens are exhausted, dude. That game, imagine how much that game took out of them, right? That hard fought game. And I love that they went for 2. And I love that, forget about the analytics. We went for 2 because we had nobody left to play defense and we knew we couldn't stop them. So we had to just go for it. So I'm on the Ravens. So I made that pick. I've left in the app. I made it on that. So I'm going to stay on the Ravens. But I fully admit right now, like, I'm very nervous about that pick. And so especially with how sharp, like the Browns, all I see, Matt, is so much sharp money coming in on the Browns. So that does make me a little worried about it. But.
Well, I've got my second prop here.
Yeah, go for it.
And this kind of it's in the same game. I've got a lot going on here on this, but I like Mark Andrews to be heavily involved again here with this offense. His catches at BetMGM are over 4.5 catches at -135. I know it's a little bit juiced up here, but I just think that they're going to use him, dink and dunk with him, and maybe even give him the football a little bit more, given what just happened at the end of the game last time against the Steelers. Just trying to kind of get that taste out of his mouth and be like, hey, man, like we got you. I know you dropped it. I know it didn't work. It was a bad throw, whatever. But like he was really distraught at the end of that game. So I think they're going to try to utilize him. And frankly, I think Cleveland's going to have a tough time guarding him here. So the 4.5 catches seemed a little bit low for Mark Andrews, in particular because of the number of interceptions that Lamar threw. So try to, not have him throwing the ball down the field 10, 15 yards. Get Mark Andrews on the flat and get him just picking up, first downs with 4 or 5 yard catches. That's why I don't like the yardage. I think it's a lot of dink and dunk to Mark Andrews, but over 4.5 catches at -135 is another one that I played and I like a lot. So I mean, I'm on the Browns -3. I'm on Nick Chubb over 69.5 yards rushing and Mark Andrews over 4.5 yards, over 4.5 catches. So, I've got 8 games.
You're all
going.
in on this game, Matt. You're
I'm
all in on this game, baby. I love it.
And the Cleveland is 6-6. Okay. If they lose this game, given the state of the AFC, it's pretty much it. I mean, they're done. So you're a big Kevin Stefanski guy. You bet him last year to win the coach of the year. And coming off of a bye, if this dude's a good coach, this is a game that the Cleveland Browns have to win.
Let me clarify, Matt. I'm not a huge Kevin Stefanski guy. Like, I'm not like, oh, he's a great. I thought he would win coach of the year because I think coach of the year is a relatively predictable formula, other than this year where Bill Belichick will probably win it. And that was not in the formula of it. Correct. I hope for your bet. But it was something like that. I don't know what's going to, realistically, a lot depends on Baker. If Baker takes a big hit and then he's basically done, and they're just like, we're going to put 8-9 men in the box, go ahead and beat us that way, then we'll see. But either way, it's a big game also for the Ravens. I mean, you have a good chance of having 4 teams at 9-4, after this week, and then seeing they're all going to fight it out for that number 1 spot here in the AFC. So it's a big game for both of them. Matt, I do want to get to a game that I think I just saw you tweeting about, which is there is a lot of movement in the line on the Cowboys-Washington football team game. You tweeted out, I don't get it. I don't get it either. So maybe you can explain this to me. The Cowboys, which, Matt, I checked all week. It was 4.5, maybe 4 at some spots. It is now 6.5 that they are laying to the Washington football team. Explain, is there a ton of money coming in, like sharp money coming in on the Cowboys? What is this?
COVID with the Washington football team. So
okay.
You've got 3 defensive linemen who are out with COVID. The whole defensive lineman room has got COVID right now for Washington. So you're without Sweat.
We knew that already. Like, we knew we would be without Sweat, and it's still
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So you're down 2 injuries, big injuries already, and now the defensive line's out against the Cowboys, who have one of the better passing offenses in the NFL. Against a secondary can't cover anybody. Look, I laid 4.5 in the circa. I didn't want to bet it. I still don't want to touch this game. I want to watch this game. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. But the Cowboys are 9-3 against the spread. The public's been cashing tickets like crazy with Dallas this season, and now you've got a bunch of injuries and COVID problems for that defensive line, because really getting after Dak Prescott's the only way they're going to stop that passing attack, not in the secondary. But on the other side, I mean, I would have been on Washington. I still might even think if they would take it Washington, just tease it up if you want. But I think Washington without Logan Thomas offensively, it's a major hit. And I think they're running out of weapons. I love Taylor Heineke, but if you can't throw to anybody, if no one's out there for him to catch the football, and you got one receiver really do you have to worry about if you're Dallas, whose secondary is not good, by the way. But I just wonder. I lean towards the over. There's so much money on the under in this game right now. I mean, you've got 77% of the money on the under, 48 in this game. And I don't know, man. I think both these teams are going to be able to put some points up. I'm not playing totals anymore, so I would lean towards the over here if I was going to be betting on this game. I do think points are going to get scored, and at FanDuel you've got it 66% of the money is on the over for Dallas at 48 for Dallas Washington on the over.
On the over.
On the over.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. I'm sorry. On the under. Excuse me. Sorry,
because you were saying the under. That's why I was surprised. Yeah. I lean towards the under, Matt. And really, it's not because of the Cowboys, although I do think the Cowboys are a little broken. By the way, there's a report now, Tony Pollard, which I expected, by the way, is not going to play in this game. So just so everybody knows. So it's just going to be Zeke back there, really, with a little bit of a banged up thing. I lean towards the under as well, because I do think that they like to basically take 3 downs to get a first down and make it a 13-yard thing, right? Like they just methodically. Antonio Gibson now, I mean, from a guy who's getting 15 touches a game, he's getting 25, 30. They just run him into the ground. So I do think they like to bleed the clock that way. That's really one of the reasons. But yeah, I don't know, man. Washington has a knack for keeping these games close right now. So I'm going to be interested to see what we see. I do want to ask you about another game, Matt, which I'm just double checking to see whether or not it actually has moved. And that's somebody was asking about it. Here we go. GGR, would you take the Bucks laying 3.5 here? Matt, this is one that everybody wants to watch and see how it goes. It is 3.5, but I will say that at DraftKings, just now they moved it to 4. 4 points at DraftKings, -4. What do you think?
I'm on -3. I bet that last Tuesday, and because I knew it would go up. I knew the public would come in on the Bucks. I wanted to make sure I was keeping it under 3 or less here for this one. I just think the Buffalo Bills are an overrated football team. And I think that Josh Allen is overrated.
By the way, are you dining out right now on Josh Allen's struggles from because of last year?
No, it's how I felt the entire time. I don't trust him in big spots. I don't trust him in big games at all. I just don't. And I think that this offense can't run the football. It's either Josh Allen or nobody. So everyone's like, well, the Bills don't run the football. They throw the ball, and the Bucs secondary is not that great. And I will agree with that. But part of their offense is he drops back and then he runs and picks up first downs. And while he might be able to do that against this Bucs team, I just don't think you can be one-dimensional against the Bucs, against anybody in the NFL. You can't be one-dimensional. And this team is one-dimensional. And I think Tom Brady is going to absolutely torch this team. I just think my other prop is Mike Evans over 61.5 yards.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. At -115. I think Mike Evans has a monster game down the field. I don't think there's anybody in that Buffalo Bills secondary that's going to be able to take care of Mike Evans. And I think Brady's going to feed him the football and throw the ball down the field. I think they'll focus on Godwin, and Evans has a huge monster. He had 99 yards receiving last week. I think he has another monster game here today. I just don't think Buffalo is going to be able to keep this game within 3 points. I think the Bucs are going to win this game by 4 points or more.
Evans was one of my props as well, so glad you're on it. I agree with that one for sure, because I do think that the last time we agreed on a prop with our other guy Pat was Derek Carr over the passing yard, so that didn't go that well. We can be honest about it.
True.
But I agree with you. I think, first of all, I don't know how they guard Mike Evans, because again, without Tre'Davious White there, nobody has the size really to match up with him in that secondary right now. So I do see that going. I have one here, Matt. You're not going to like this prop, but it is something where I think Tampa runs a lot of zone. And when I've looked at Buffalo and what they do when they run zone in defense is Buffalo, that's really, I feel like, the games where Beasley gets a lot of looks, right? So I like him over 4.5 catches, Matt. That is actually one of my props here. I do think that, not the yardage, because I don't want to know the yardage. The yardage could be 28.5, and I wouldn't be surprised. But he strikes me as someone who's going to get 6. This is going to be a game where he sees 11 targets. They're going to need points. He's sort of the guy who I think can sort of break through there in that. So that is one of my props there as well that I'm going with. I forgot to give a different one, by the way, which was a game, because when we talk about a game, I try to give the props, Matt. But it's Antonio Gibson. It's a pretty high number. But again, I think he's getting, at this point, he's probably going to get 20, 22, 23 carries, regardless of where they are. So I like him over 60.5 rushing yards. I just think that realistically, he's got to average 3.5 yards per carry. I see him getting 20 carries at all. And I think that's going to be pretty easy to do against Dallas. He has been looking good. So those are 2 props that I'm on as well that I like here. So that's where I'm going. Somebody is asking about the Giants-Chargers game. They want to know if you can talk about the money that's coming in on the Chargers and the Giants game here.
So the line opened up at 10.5. It's been bet down to 9 now. You've got two teams that are both 6-6 against the spread. You got 75% of the tickets on the Chargers, but 71% of the money at WinBet on the Giants. FanDuel has similar movement, 10.5 down to 9, and you've got 69% of the tickets on the Chargers and 79% of the money on the Chargers.
Okay.
So you have a little bit of a split there where a lot more money at FanDuel coming in on the Chargers. WinBet is seeing more money on the New York Giants here today. The total has crashed from 45.5 down to 43. So both books are seeing a lot of under money coming in here. 60% of the handle on the under. 91% of the money on the under. For Chargers Giants at WinBet, and only 60% of the money coming in on the under at FanDuel. So a little bit more of a public book there with FanDuel. So people don't like betting unders in that game, and 43 is a stupid low number. So maybe that's why the public is saying, I don't want to be betting on the under. But
I mean, the Giants defense is been kind of underrated, especially, in the way they sort of shut down the pass. So I guess I can see that.
I mean, West Coast trip, dome team.
Yeah.
I mean, I would lean towards the Chargers, but again, I mean, the Chargers can win the game by 7 and get out of Dodge and be done.
Correct.
Just like they don't have to win the game by 2 scores. They just win and go and get out of there. So
Right.
I don't like laying the points there at all.
All right. By the way, I will say that, Kevin Roth is a guy who does work on the weather and stuff like that. And so I just did see him tweeting out that it's worth noting. He said not a huge deal, but there are going to be sustained 15-mile-an-hour winds in the Cleveland-Baltimore game. And gusts.
It's Ohio December. It's already into the
line. Gusts that get
get
as high as 25 and 30. It's not. I agree. I'm just saying, to the extent it affects downfield passing at all, neither one of these teams probably wants to go out of that.
I was going to say, who does that hurt? That hurts the Ravens.
It does, because Lamar has definitely gone downfield way more than he used to. But maybe they're finally going to be like, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. Like maybe outright, like maybe this isn't in our best interest right now to have Lamar. And one thing I'm really interested in, Matt, is how much Lamar Jackson, who again has been battling these like mysterious illnesses that are not COVID related, but he's been on like the injury report with an illness like 3 separate weeks at this point. Like if he's 100%, like. I don't know, man. If I was the offensive coordinator, I would run Lamar Jackson and I would run just RPOs nonstop. Like, right. And then every once in a while I'd throw it to Mark Andrews and then I'd be done. But that's basically where I'd be. I do want to ask about another game here. This is another game, Matt. Now I do the BettingPros podcast usually on Thursday. Okay. So I make my sort of plays then. And, there are times like with this Ravens Browns game where I, see money coming in, or I go into it more. And there's a game now, Matt, that I took that I know was a sharp side early on, but given the injuries to the secondary makes me a little nervous. And that is the 49ers against the Bengals here. I got it at the 49ers. When I actually bet it, the 49ers were getting 1. When I made my official pick, the 49ers were laying 1. Now the overall consensus is the 49ers laying 2. It's -1.5 at BetMGM, for example. So around there. But, you've got Deebo Samuel going to play in this game. Not that necessarily matters that much. But you have like the 2 best players in the 49ers secondary out in this game. And you've got Joe Burrow reportedly looking okay. I mean, a big thing for me, Matt, was Joe Burrow and like how that pinky was going to affect him. He looked to be in a lot of pain when he was throwing. But the reports at practice have been good, like about him. And honestly, are you taking Jamar Chase or T. Higgins over props in this one, Matt? Because they have nobody who can guard.
See, I'm waiting. I have 3 props, and I always wait for one for you to hear what you're going to be. And I was hoping that you were going to be on one of these receiver props and or Burrow props, because I'm on the Bengals +8. Okay, so I took the 2 last night, and I teased it up to 8.
Okay.
So
I like that. I mean, I like teasing them up. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Cincy at home here to keep this game relatively close. I'm on the Bengals in the Circa contest as well. I think the Bengals are going to win this game outright. I know you don't like Cincinnati. I do.
Right. I fade them generally. Correct. And that, again, I fully acknowledge that does not always work out. That does not in any way always work out. I agree. And it is the 49ers are coming east, but it's a 4:25 game, right?
Right.
This week. Right. So that's a little helpful, obviously. But yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just think that this secondary, the late scratch of, one of the key defensive backs for the 49ers, I think is significant for a team. I think Mixon is going to get a lot of work here. I think that you're going to be overcompensating, trying to protect in the secondary. I don't know how much they'll be blitzing. Yeah. And I think that you could, I like this offense for the Bengals to move the football, and the Bengals defensive line is sneaky. Okay. It's better than people think. I think they're going to be able to hold up against this rushing. I don't like Garoppolo on the road here. In an Ohio weather, he mentioned the weather in Cleveland. Well, Cincinnati is going to be have the similar weather, and I'm not in love with this Niners team on the road laying 2 points and now having issues in their secondary. Again, and another team that's 6-5-1 against the spread. But I mean, from a Bengals perspective, if you want to do anything, you got to win this game. I mean, I've already cashed my over 6.5 win prop on these guys.
Yeah, you have.
So like, it doesn't really matter for me in terms of like, I'm in on the Bengals. I like this team, and I like this team to win outright today.
Yeah, I hear it. I really do. The injury to the secondary, I knew Mosley obviously was out. Like you knew that, but this one is. But I'm sticking with it, Matt. If I make my pick, I'm sticking with the pick. So I'm still going to go with the 49ers because I do think. But here, give me the props, Matt. They weren't listed on it. Give me the receiving props for Chase, for example, or Higgins. My guess is I will advise going over. And if you want to make that the Dan Harris official, I'm okay with it.
Oh, really?
But go ahead. Probably.
Which one do you like more?
Chase.
How could you not like? I mean, because you know how they're going to feed him the football, obviously.
Oh my
right?
God! After last week, where basically he turned a 75-yard touchdown into an interception, they're going to get him back on track here. So
63.5 receiving yards.
Go ahead, make it official. Make it official. Ready for my projection for him?
Yep.
83.
Oh boy, we're getting 20 yards.
Yeah.
20 yards. Yep. I love it. So Jamar Chase over 63.5. BetMGM's got it at minus 115 right now. So my four props are Mark Andrews over 4.5 catches, Nick Chubb over 69.5 yards rushing, Mike Evans over 61.5 yards receiving, and Jamar Chase over 63.5 yards receiving.
Good. I will tell you, we haven't talked about it yet, but let's get to the since it's my other prop that I was only thinking about is the in the Raiders game here. So where are we now with that line? I'm just looking it up. The consensus is 9.5. So it's kind of been there.
Yeah.
Kind of been there, right? I mean, it was at 10. Was it at 10? Did it ever get to 10?
10.5.
It was. Oh, I missed it.
It opened at 8.5, steamed all the way up to 10.5. Now it's back down to 9.5.
Okay.
I mean, look, I pulled, this is the other leg of my teaser. I pulled this from 10 down to 4. So
interesting.
I prefer it more at a 6.5, at a 3.5 or a 3 if you can get it down to there. But look, I just think this Raiders team without Waller, without Ruggs, they just don't have enough weapons in the passing attack. It's not Derek Carr's fault, but this defense for the KC Chiefs is playing much better. It's why really a lot of people like the fact that they think this is an underplay today. You've got, some pros that are on the under.
Yeah.
In this game.
I took the under, by the way. I will say that. Like, that's how it struck me. Both, and again, the Chiefs aren't exactly. No. I mean, the last time Mahomes played, but the Chiefs aren't lighting it up offensively these days, right? They're playing much more conservatively, relying on their defense.
86% of the money at WinBet is on the under here for this game. So, a lot of money coming in on the under. It's dropped up a full point, 49-48 here for this one. So, I mean, technically the 49 points is it's under the 49. It's not under the 10 or 9.5 for a long teaser perspective, but from a total perspective,
right.
Pulling this number down from 10 to 4 or 9.5 down to 3.5. I just think the Raiders are going to have, I need one more win this year out of the Raiders to cash this over 6.5 ticket. And I'm having a tough time seeing it. And this is why I've talked about this bet a lot, but this guy came in and bet, I think it was something like $50,000 on the Raiders to land at 6 wins.
Right.
And it's to win like $250,000 because you start looking at their schedule and you're going to have a hard time to find that one extra win. And it could happen. They've got home games coming in. They got some games where they could potentially win, but this is not one of them because they went to Arrowhead last year and they stunned the Chiefs. And KC was going to remember that. In the way that game unfolded, what changed the game was a Henry Ruggs 75-yard touchdown toss that changed the entire dynamic of that football game. And they don't have anyone like that. It's all Renfro underneath. It's all tight ends, backup tight ends. I feel for Derek Carr because he's got a decent offensive line. But that defense, I think is good enough to keep them in the game, but I don't think it's good enough for them to win the football game. And I just think KC's offense is good enough. Yep. And look, they hate the Raiders in Kansas City. This is a hornet's nest of an environment for the Raiders to walk in. And if they had Waller, I might consider it. But without Waller, I just don't think they have any weapons.
Yeah. I am in agreement. I just put up, this was another one that I liked, it's a big number, but I do think it's just there's nobody else to throw the ball to. Hunter Renfrow over 6.5 receptions. I don't know, by the way, what Deshaun Jackson's prop number is, but they're going to take a few deep shots. So my guess is it's like 17 or something, 17 yards. I wouldn't, if you want to take a shot on that, whatever the number is, I wouldn't care about that. But I do think that, again, without Waller, like you've seen the last 2 games, just Hunter Renfrow, what he does at this point. So I really think that. Yeah, interesting though, Matt. Like I don't ever remember you, and I've been following your bets very closely, of course, for like a year and a half because of the juice and everything like that. You teasing down a team from like laying 10 to like laying 4. Do you do that ever? Like often? Is that something?
No,
right?
Okay. I mean, but I think the Chiefs could cover this number. I mean, I think the Chiefs could win the game by 14 easy.
Sure.
So I was on the Chiefs last week. Everyone said I was nuts. I laid the number and it cashed. Double-digit favorites in the NFL have been doing very well this year. And I think in the last 2 weeks, I think double-digit favorites are like 5-1 against the spread or something along those lines. So I just think that this Raiders team on the road is going to have a real tough time keeping this game within 7 points. And you say divisional game, teams play it tight. They can win by 3 and then I lose my bet. And I understand that, but I don't like this Raiders offense at all. And I'm just not sold on the Raiders defense either. I think it's okay. They have a serviceable defense when their offense is putting up 25 to 30 points a game. If you look at the way the Raiders have won football games, in particular their last game that they won, it's all about being able to score 30 points. And I don't think the Chiefs give up 30 points today to the Raiders.
Yeah. Coming through, David Johnson placed on the COVID-19 list. So he is not going to play today. If that really impacts how you feel about Houston, we'll get to that in a little bit, which I doubt it does, but just FYI. All right. That's fine. I don't have a real good feel for that. Like if I forced to pick a side, I don't know. I think I don't even want to talk about it. Actually, I don't have a side. I do like the under though. I do side with people in the under because this does not strike me as a game that's going to be a shootout type of thing. Like I think that Chiefs are. I
mean, this is another game where the total is 47.5 and one team is laying 9.5 points.
Right.
Right. That's a weird game. Just when you're looking, like that's essentially saying that the Raiders are not going to score, which I tend to agree. So maybe you look at team total for the Raiders and go either over or under. But this bet is primarily saying like KC starts with 20 points. How many points will the Raiders score?
Right. And I do think that, the Chiefs defense has been playing so much better over the last 5 games. Like it's like night and day from what it was in the beginning. So that'll be good. Okay. I will say we have over 300 people watching. Hello, everyone. If you are watching, drop a like on the video. Helps us out. And also, if you want to comment in the chat, just be a subscriber. Just click the subscribe button. Really easy way, by the way, to show your support. Totally free to do. Like, subscribe. Really helps us out. All right, let's get to the rest of the games here, Matt. The Saints are visiting the Jets, and the line is just kind of stuck around 5.5, like the whole time. Obviously, you've got Ingram out, but you've got Kamara back. And for the Jets, they're down their, biggest playmaker in Elijah Moore, who's placed on IR. Corey Davis already out. So, it's like Jamison Crowder and bums in the receiving, line. And you've got obviously even Tevin Coleman, who's been their lead rusher, sort of out. So you got Ty Johnson. I mean, Taysom Hill's got the finger, but it's really hard for me to see the Jets keeping this game close. I haven't bet it, but it's hard for me to see them keeping this game close.
I agree, but I want absolutely no part of the New Orleans Saints for a while. And I mean, they're 5-7. They go at the Jets, at the Bucks, home for the Dolphins, home for the Panthers, and at the Falcons. So to get to my 10 wins here, okay, over 9.5, they got to run the table. That means they got to beat the Buccaneers on the road.
Yeah.
It ain't happening. No, this bet is probably dead for me, unfortunately, but they might get to 9. So if you bet this late, the number actually closed at over 8.5. So you're technically still alive if they run the table or they go 4-1 rather. So this is an absolute must. This is if you're on over 8.5 wins for the Saints, this is the game. They lose this game, it's over, and that's it. It's over.
If you lose against the Jets, your season should just be declared over, dead on arrival.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, we've never seen this. We've never seen Sean Payton lose 5 games in a row. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not putting him in the Belichick category, but there are people in the NFL that believe, like, you start talking about the best coaches in the NFL, and Sean Payton's in the conversation. Yeah. So, I mean, I got screwed with Jameis's injury. I thought Jameis was going to be a big difference maker, and he was up until the injury. So, I thought Michael Thomas was going to come back midseason. He didn't. He's not coming back. So, like, there's been some bad things that happen. That's betting, and just unfortunate breaks that come into the handicap that aren't there anymore. But I hate this offense for New Orleans so much with Taysom Hill. It's just absolutely, even with Kamara back, I hate the offense. And defensively, they're still solid, but offensively, they are absolutely awful.
Matt, did we think that Jimmy Smith, the cornerback for the Ravens, was going to be playing today? He was I don't know.
Is he out? He's perfect. Out. Beautiful. I mean, Ravens are
playing. Who's playing in that secondary right now? I honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know.
They're in. I just think that, and I wouldn't be surprised. The Ravens could punt this game. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they're just like, look, we're so banged up. We just need to get out of there without getting anybody else hurt. the game doesn't matter all that much to them. It means a whole lot more to the Browns than it does to the Ravens. Ravens, if they go 8-5, they're still right there to win the division. And the Steelers are falling apart, like we know. The Bengals are an up and down team. You're really inconsistent. So, I mean, they're in the wild card chase. Win or lose, they're in the wild card and division conversation for the Ravens. So,
yeah. Well, the one thing I could say is based on following John Harbaugh pretty closely throughout his career, they're not laying down. Like, no matter what.
No.
No. I just mean, like, even if it would be like beneficial to them, even in the long run, like, this man wants to win every, moment of every game and everything like that. So it wouldn't matter if this was entirely meaningless to them. And it was like, you have to, it doesn't matter. He's just going to go for it. Matt, what do you do about the Panthers and the Falcons laying 2.5? Just basically say, oh God, I want no piece of this. I don't want to watch it. Leave me alone.
Oh no, this is going to be as of right now. It's one of my Wong teaser legs.
Yeah, you got a lot of Wong teaser possibilities. This week, right?
This week's everywhere. There's so many Wong, but I mean, this is. Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons up to 8.5 or 9 here.
Okay.
And just keeping the game. I just think it's an ugly football game. The total is 41.5 here.
Yeah, I got it at under 42.5, and I took it.
It's 80% of the money's on the under. So everyone's on the under here. Yep. And if I can give one of these two teams, nearly double digits, give it, 8.5 points.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons can keep this game within 7 points or within one score.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, I think the Panthers are going to win this game just because I think that they're going to run the ball 50 times. Like, I think they're barely going to let Cam Newton throw this ball at all. Like, they're just going to say,
would you throw?
No, of course not.
I
would run it nonstop. Somebody, by the way, is saying it looks like Hunter Renfrow is out. I don't believe that is true. I haven't seen that. Just to be clear, that's Tyson Casey. If somebody has seen that, please report. But I run our news desk on fantasy, so I think I would know that. But anyway, they're just going to run it nonstop, which is why I like the under, because I just think the drives are going to take forever. And, Matt Ryan didn't look great against them last time. I think that the defense is going to be so angry and have to keep them in the game. So we'll see about that. So I'm avoiding it entirely on the spread side. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to see either team blowing out the other one. How about the Jags visiting the Titans? 8.5. Good reports as usual about Urban Meyer this week. Another Urban Meyer's the man type of week. I mean, it's what prevents me from ever backing the Jags no matter what, Matt. It's just like, even if I think there's value on it, I just can't get there. So what do you think?
So I took this from 8.5. The number now has bounced back up to 9. But okay. I took this to 8.5 from 8.5 and teased it down to 2.5. Okay. And that's the Wong teaser. Okay. Wong teaser is Falcons plus 8.5, Titans minus 2.5.
Oh, we're giving it. That's it. We're
that's
right
it.
There.
I mean,
I love it.
I mean, that's it. And I still like it at 3 too. I mean, Titans minus 3. I'm cool with that. I don't like it over 3, but I like it at 3. Okay. And you got a 44 total there for the Titans. And, this is before people want to jump in on me and say, that's not a Wong teaser. Yes, it is. You're going to tease home favorites of 7.5, 8, 8.5, and 9 down. Okay. Total is 44 in this game. So yes, for all the Wong police out there who like to come in and try to tell me what is and what is not a Wong teaser, Falcons plus 8.5, Titans minus 2.5.
Are there a lot of Wong teaser police, Matt? Is that what happens? They yell at you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We had somebody come in last week. After I said on the live stream, I said, look, this is not officially 100% a Wong teaser. It's good enough. It qualifies on everything except, and it hit. It's 8-4 on the year. And someone was like, of course, again, it's not a Wong teaser. It's not officially a Wong teaser. I was like, okay, dude, like, save your breath, please. Okay. And then he actually came back and tried to defend himself and wrote me DMs on Twitter. And by the way, if people are hammering you on the Discord channel because you say something stupid, don't DM me on Twitter trying to ask because I agreed with the masses, you were being an idiot. Don't DM me on Twitter and say, why is everybody being so mean to me? Like, seriously, you're going to a different platform to go complain about somebody else on a different platform? Please don't do that.
You get so mad at people, Matt. I love it. You get so fired up. It's all right. You got to do what you got to do. Seahawks are now laying 9. There's 9.5 at BetMGM here and at FoxBet and at PointsBet. But overall, it's 9. It's 9 for me. What do you think?
This game I want no part of. Why are the Seahawks this big? I don't care who it is.
Against anyone, right?
Against anybody. Against anybody. I mean, why the hell are you laying 9 points with the Seattle Seahawks? I mean, my gosh, that offense is broken. They're 5-6-1 against the spread this year. Houston's a respectable 5-7 against the spread this year. 90% of the money at WinBet is on Seattle. 73% of the money at FanDuel is on Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, sure. Go ahead. I want no part of that.
I teased them when it was 7.5. 7.5 early in the week, man. I teased them down to 1.5, and I made it part of a 2-team teaser when it was that, because I was like, okay. By the way, I like being below 2 now. Like, I know we always talk about being below 3, but 2 is a number that I feel like is constantly just in my face at this point, where teams are missing the extra point and everything like that. So I liked it at 1.5. So I think the Seahawks will win this game, like, obviously, with Wilson looking a little better, and the Texans are just a mess. But I don't 8.5. It was like, it started at 7.5, got to 8.5. Now it's 9.5 at some spots. Just, I'm running away from it in that sense. Got to that. Broncos against the Lions. So this is one obviously that has moved way higher than it was earlier on in the week. It's now 11.5, given the fact that the Lions have massive illness, stuff going on with them. By the way, there is nothing quite as terrible on the fantasy side as being asked to rank the Lions running backs this week, just so you know, because it's just like, I don't want to talk about it. So what do you think? 11.5.
I mean, this is the same problem I've got with Seattle. Why the hell are the Broncos this big of favorites against anybody?
Right.
This is crazy to me. I mean, I mean, okay, power to you, but I'm not laying double digits on the Broncos, even against the Lions. And the Lions are a really good team against the spread. Really good this year against the spread. I mean, they're 8-6. Sorry, no, 8-4 against the spread this year. So, I mean, I'm not getting in front of Campbell. Nah, they're coming off. Everyone's saying they're coming off their emotional first win of the year, right? Oh no, fade them the next week. What happens if they just like broke the ice and just like, now that gorilla's off their back and they're like, okay, now we can just go play. No longer are we getting asked these questions. Are you going to go 0-17? Are you going to be the first team to go 0-17? They get their first win. The Vikings probably should be investigated for point shaving because of the defense they had at the end of that game. But they got the win. And so, I mean, I could easily see the Lions being in this game, and it comes down to a field goal easily.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's so hard. Hawkinson out too. Like, just, I can't find a universe where I'm back in the Broncos laying more than 10 points. Like, I don't know where we are. By the way, there's all this talking about Hunter Renfrow. There was a random comment about Hunter Renfrow. Looks like he is out. There is nothing. He's in. Like, everybody relax. Hunter Renfrow's fine. I have no idea. Somebody just randomly commented. I don't know.
I'm here in Vegas. I've heard nothing about a Hunter Renfrow injury. I mean,
no, there is somebody named Tyson Casey who said he looked like Hunter Renfrow is out. Everybody says Hunter Renfrow is in. Then he says Hunter Renfrow is out. There is nothing to suggest Hunter Renfrow is out. He is in. So I'm not sure. Tyson, if you want to explain where you're seeing that or anything like that, I'm sure everybody would appreciate it. But I'm not seeing that. Okay.
Direct line to Hunter Renfrow's agent or something? What the?
Yeah. Are you? Yes. Maybe this is somebody trying to get money on the, people to push money in. Bears on the Packers. Oh, this has gone down, I guess, huh? This was at 12.5 when I saw it earlier this week. It just kind of stuck there. Now 11.5 for the week. So
look, sharp money all over Chicago. I mean, sure. You want to know the sharp side of the week? Sharp side of the week is Bears plus the points. The public side is Packers laying this number. I want no part of this game. Yeah. Zero part of this game. This has crazy upset. Just to give you an up-to-date number here from DraftKings. They just emailed this out. 11.5, 84% of the handle on the Packers. 70% of the bets are on the Packers laying the 11.5. Professionals are all over the Bears. If you want to know where the pros are, that they are standing, taking the points here. I just don't trust Chicago on the road against Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry.
Of course.
I could easily, I
prime
understand
time, by the way.
Let's
prime
go prime
time. Right?
I understand the point of taking the points. I do.
Sure.
I get where the pros are by saying just let it climb and take the points. And it's a divisional game, and people are just downplaying the Bears, and everyone thinks it's an automatic, and everyone's using the Packers as part of their money line parlays and whatnot. 94% of the money is on the money line for the Packers, so all the parlays will run into this game. In terms of where the books are going to be, depending on how the day goes, this could be a monster need. The Bears might be a huge need for the sports books coming up on Sunday. And if it turns into that, if it gets really, really bad, I will bet the Bears. I will take the points. If the day's going well and everything rolls for the public into the Packers, I'll take the points and go with Chicago.
Do you remember what the score was? Because I felt their first game, because I felt like the Bears covered that, right?
In the
first one they played, the I Own You game.
Well, no, I think they did cover that game. I think you're right.
Yeah, right. But I felt like they needed like sorry, I'm looking it up right now. Sorry. No, it was 24-14 in that one.
And the line,
you remember what the line was already?
Hold on. The line was, that's the wrong game.
It doesn't matter if you can't remember.
No, it doesn't. I'm looking at it right now. The line was Green Bay minus 5.5. So they did cover.
Right. And I felt like Green Bay covered in that one. But I felt like even like they dominated that game, and they could have won by 3 touchdowns if they want, but the Bears sort of just they didn't totally run away with it, and I could see that being it. Like I could see it being a 10-point game right now. The Packers can win this game probably pretty easily, so it's really hard for me to take the Packers. It's hard. I don't want to bet the Bears though. Like just stay away from me entirely.
I mean, look, the Bears at home, they're 4-8 on the year, but at home, okay, they're not a horrific home team. Last week was bad. They lost to the Cardinals 33-22. But before that, they lost to the Ravens 16-13. They lost to the 49ers 33-22. Lost to the Packers 24-14. I mean, they're keeping these games. My point is they're not losing these games by 14 points at home.
Sure, correct.
So they're on the road here now. And on the road, beat the Lions 16-14. Lost to the Steelers 29-27. They lost badly to the Bucks. But they haven't been that bad. They lost 20-9. Yeah. They won 20-9 on the road against the Raiders. They haven't been that bad on the road either. Right. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Bears this year are against the spread are only 4-8. So that's another reason why people are coming in. But remember, the opening number was 13, and now we're sitting at 11.5.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I want to do. We got one more game, Rams Cardinals. We'll talk about that. Then I know we got a lot of people joined us late because sometimes when we start, we got 100, 150. Now we got people are asking about what's the biggest public plays, what are the sharpest play, like what are you seeing the money and stuff like that. So we'll recap all that. We'll talk about very quickly our player props. We still got 10 minutes or a little more than that. So nobody worry if you're here. Like, subscribe, please, for us, and then we will get to all of that in a second. Last one, Matt. Do you have any feeling on this Cardinals-Rams game? It's 2.5 right now. It's a really tough one for me. And our inside joke, just so you know, here at Betting Pros, is that all of us, when we discuss games, we are often on the wrong side of the Arizona game. Like no matter which way we go, if we fade them, if we follow, like it just we seem to have like they're like our kryptonite at this point. So what do you think right now about this game?
So in the circa, we're taking the Rams plus 2.5.
Okay,
and I like the Rams a lot here because I think there's so much riding. I just don't see the Cardinals running away and hiding with this division. Yeah. It's such a good division. And for the most part, except for the last time they played, Sean McVay has owned Arizona. Mm-hmm. And his number was like 6-0 going into that game. And it was, then you saw Kyler Murray play really well in Los Angeles. I just think the Rams here defensively are going to have a much better game plan against the Cardinals. And the Cardinals were at full strength and healthy in that first matchup. And they're not at full strength and they're not anywhere near as healthy as they were. I don't want to call it the season for the Rams, but it kind of is. I mean, they have to win this game.
Well, the division is over, obviously, if they don't win this game. Like the division is totally over, right? Of course.
So like it's everything to me, everything screams the Rams have one of those games where McVay pushes all the right buttons. They get the breaks. They're 8-4. They're 4-2 on the road so far. I mean, the Cardinals have a plus 119 point differential this year, which is nuts. But I just think this Rams team, we took the 2.5 points, but I'll be close to taking the money line on Monday night for the Rams to win the game outright.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I'll be honest. I've gone back and forth on it, so I don't really feel that great about it either way. I will say, Mike, awesome. Thanks for asking. Where's the garage door? Is the family okay? I appreciate it. We probably won't get the garage door back. Wife is out walking the dog right now. We might. We got 10 minutes. We might. But it was, daughter birthday sleepover last night, so couldn't get the dog out until a little later because we had to wait for the parents to come pick him up. But I really appreciate your concern. We're right there. All right, Matt. So let's just talk about some sharp plays, public plays, like. Where are you seeing, like, what is the public biggest on? Where is there like the biggest sharp plays and stuff this week?
Yeah. So right now, as I mentioned, the biggest public play is Green Bay laying the points. Mm-hmm. So that is a monster public play right now. If you want to be real sharp, go ahead and take Chicago here, plus the points, and just kind of wait and see what the total is going to, the point total is going to be for the Bears. Right now, it opened at 13. It's 11.5. It could go back up. It could, but it's massive reverse line movement. As I mentioned, you got all this public money coming in here on the Packers at the numbers going towards the Bears. So that should be your sound alert. Like they're, let the alerts go off. Seattle is a monster public favorite here. Line open at 7.5. It's now 8.5. You got 90% of the money, 90% of the bets, 83% of the money at WinBet coming in here on Seattle. So that's a monster play. You want to know the sharp plays? The sharp plays are the Bears and the Browns today. And then it's kind of wishy-washy on Dallas and Washington because of the COVID issues with Washington. There's been late steam here on this. So we're all the way up to 6.5 points. That's pros and Joes both coming in on Dallas because of the Washington defense issues with COVID. So that's a little bit more of a tougher read. But if you want to be with the pros, Browns and Bears are the two sides to really jump in here. And then if you want to get real kind of on the thin line, take the Giants as well. A lot of people are on the Chargers here laying the 10.5, but the number has gone from 10.5 to 9, and yet the majority of the money, 70% of the money, is on the Chargers. You get reverse line movement. The pros are on the Giants.
Here's what I'm going to say as I have learned more and more. Like, you feel disgusting a lot of times when you have to take sharp sides. Like
correct.
I feel like the public sort of hears what the sharps are doing and you say, this is disgusting. And oftentimes you're going to see a game like the Chargers may win this game with Mike Glennon at quarterback against them, may win this game by 24 points. Like, definitely might. And you may be like, this is dumb. Over the long haul, these plays where it's clearly just there is value on a number, even if you don't like it, like, they win. Like that's what it is.
This is a prime example. Okay. So Titans Jaguars today, right?
Yep.
So all week, and now kind of it was with the cherry on top yesterday.
Yep.
People were talking about the fact that the Jaguars are quitting on Urban Meyer. Mm-hmm. That they don't want to be around it. They don't want to be around him. That they were complaining after the game last week. They had players who were literally outwardly telling the opponent team that, like, we hate our coach. This guy, he treats us like children.
Yeah.
We don't respect him.
Yep.
He, in the locker room on Monday, reportedly went around and asked his assistant coaches, "What have you done?" Besides that, Urban Meyer hired.
Didn't he hire those people?
Yes, he hired all right. The guys he hired, the guys whose resumes were good enough to get a job under Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer then turned around and said, "Why are you here?"
Yeah,
dude, I'm here because you hired me, guy. That's why I'm here. So anyway, so the narrative is the Jaguars are going to lay down and get killed.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with that, but like, if you want to go with the disgusting side's taking the points with the Jaguars today.
Right. Yeah.
That's hold your nose and take the Jags plus 8.5, 9, whatever point it is. Just hold your nose and take the Jags.
And I'll be honest, like, there are a lot of ugly games where I'm like, this strikes me as value. And I try to monitor the space, Matt, and I try to see what people I respect and sharp bettors. And a lot of times they'll be on that side, and then I'll be able to do it. There are some teams, the Jets, when they were like in the absolutely terrible years, where it was like, I know what the numbers say, but it does not matter to me because I see Adam Gase and I see what this team looks like. I don't care if there's value. The Jaguars are one of those teams. I don't think I backed the Jaguars once this whole year, but I do get it, like, why it sort of says. All right, Matt, if people missed the Wong teaser, Ray Villa is asking right now, official Wong teaser, Matt, go ahead.
Falcons plus 8.5, Titans minus 2.5 is the official Wong teaser for me today. I don't mind it at 3. If you have 9, you got to go down to 3. I don't mind 3. Don't want it over 3.
Yep.
But don't mind Titans at home laying 3 to the Jaguars, and then you've got Falcons on the road to the Panthers catching plus 8.5.
Yep. Okay. There it is. Official Wong teaser.
So my full card is
Yes,
Browns -3, Bucks -3, teaser KC -4, Cincy +8, Wong teaser Falcons +8.5, Titans -2.5, and my 4 props are Mark Andrews over 4.5 catches, Nick Chubb over 69.5 yards rushing, Mike Evans over 61.5 yards receiving, and Jamar Chase over 63.5 yards receiving.
I will say this. I do not love a bet that I placed while we were sitting here on this live stream, which, by the way, I do. If you see me looking over to the right in my other screen, I am either checking our BettingPros consensus odds or I am placing my own bet.
Can you bet in New Hampshire on your computer?
Yeah, DraftKings.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you believe we can't do that in Vegas? Can you believe that?
Look, if everybody knows it's where you want to bet, it's New Hampshire. That's where you go. That's a big market.
Yeah, the monopoly, the beautiful monopoly you guys have there. But I'm just saying, like, one of the weirder things about Vegas is that you can bet on your phone, but you can't bet on your computer.
That's bizarre. That makes no sense to me. Okay.
Because they want you to have to go and register. It's a whole stupid shell game, dumb thing that happened. But yes, that is still the rule here in Vegas, is that you don't.
I can do it on my phone. I can do it on my computer. I do it all day long. It doesn't matter. I will say that when DraftKings, which is not everywhere, there are a couple spots now, PointsBet and FoxBet have followed as well. But BetMGM still 3.5. I did put a little something, like a half a unit, on the Bills getting 4. I don't love it. I could see a scenario for certain where the Bucks ride with this. And I kind of liked the Bucks a little bit at 3. I didn't put anything on it, but I would have leaned that way. At 4, I'm going that way. That's just where I've gone. I'll just make it clear. So
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, okay. I bet it Tuesday for that reason, because I knew the number would go up, and I knew I didn't want any part of having to do that whole like mental gymnastics game of like, can they get to 4?
No, you did it right.
Just take the 3 and be done with it, and just if the Bucks win, they'll cut. If they win, they'll either cover or push in my mind. So at 3, but 3.5 and 4, I do think the Bills come into play. I mean, in the circa, we took the Bills at +3.5 for that very reason. And my partner was literally standing on a table and screaming at me saying, we have to do this, because I screamed at him about the Patriots the previous week. Took the Patriots, and now he's turning around and saying, you were right there. I'm right here. We're taking the Bills against Brady. I was like, okay, fine. I mean, we'll see. I disagree with it, but it is what it is.
I got it. And I will say again that the sharp side is the Browns in this game. I took the Ravens. I am on the Ravens still at 3, and I'm leaving it. I'm not, hedging or anything. I'm still going to go with being sort of the square side, even with all their injuries, even with everything. It could completely blow up. I will say that early on in the week when they were 2.5, I made them part of a teaser, and I teased them up to 8.5 as well.
I like that.
I mean, I don't even feel that great about it. I'm just being as honest as possible, Matt. Like, I'm telling people what my actual bets are. I am on the Ravens +3, and I am on them +8.5.
I feel that a lot.
I feel uncomfortable with it. Just over, Matt, there is a scenario here, a plausible course of action where the Browns blow the doors off the Ravens in this game. Matt, they're so injured in the secondary. They're so exhausted. The Browns have been sitting there for 3 weeks looking at the Ravens nonstop. 3 weeks. It's not just that they're off the bye. It's that they prepared for the Ravens in that game. They lost that game, which they obviously is a tough loss when you have 4 interceptions, you still lose. Then they've got the bye. Then they played them again. Versus look at how the Steelers came out in that game against the Vikings. And you say what you want about the Steelers. Like, the bottom line is there is an emotional letdown after that game, like win or lose, like you're just exhausted. So coming off the rest of the team, there's a scenario. What I'm saying is that the Browns sort of go nuts here. Still, though, I do think that the Ravens are a better team. And with Mayfield's injuries, I just don't trust him to be able to win a game. So for now, I'm sticking with it. But that's really where we are. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, you've got no Anthony Schwartz, you've got no Greg Newsome the second, no Ronnie Harrison Jr. I mean, this is the Raven. I see your point, but the Browns have only blown out one team this year. That was the Bengals on the road where they won 116. That's it.
I don't expect them to blow them out. Like, I'd make that bet right now. I'd go up to 9 if I could. I had it when it was 2.5, so I wanted it above there. Even though
the Browns haven't killed anybody this year, so I think I know. Technically they won 26-6 against the Bears, so I guess technically you could say that they covered a 10-point line there. But the vast majority of their wins this year, 17-14, 13-10.
Yeah, I get it.
31-21. They play close games. Even when they win, they play close games.
Yeah. And again, I do think that if the Browns are beating up on them pretty good, like, we've seen Jackson just basically be like, all right, well, I'm just running for 140 yards and I'm just going to, get us back into this game, which
By the way, I just want to say this. Whenever I make bets and in the comment section, either on YouTube or here, when everybody says, I love that bet, it's a great bet, it loses.
Oh, no. Did people say that?
Oh yeah, all the time. Oh, I love your plays today, and then I'll get my ass kicked. And then it's like, and then Caleb says, "Don't bet the Browns." Love it. I love it, love it. Please disagree. I need people to disagree with it, because if you don't like the plays, chances are they're going to cash.
All right, Matt. So then, as we sign off here at noon, I will then say this to you, my good friend, to make sure everything goes well. I hate all your bets today. They're all terrible. And I hope they all cash. All right, that's going to be it. Everybody enjoy your football Sunday. I've got some fantasy updates to do and all that sort of stuff. Good luck with all your bets. All losers, as Faustino Hernandez says. There we go. Bring it all in. I hope so. All right, guys. We'll talk to you again next week.